So for ease, I've broken this video into 3 key sections, and you can find timestamps in the description to help you jump to the point you want, should you need to. So the first section is all about how to build your single product template in Elementor Pro. The second is how to set up the correct conditions to display your template. And then finally, we have a bonus section on how you can enhance your WooCommerce products with additional custom dynamic data. I'll also show you how to expand your template design with your custom data. So okay, if you're ready, let's get started. So let's go to the template section, and inside there we're going to choose the option for Theme Builder. Now once you're inside the Theme Builder, you can see all the different kinds of themes that you can create listed across the top. All we want to do is go ahead and create our new template. To do that, we'll click on Add New. We can choose the type of template we want to create. In this example, we want to create a single product. Give our template a name, and then click Create Template. Now once you choose to create your template, that will open up the library inside Elementor Pro. This is where you can choose predefined designs. Now you could use these as a starting point, or you can completely ignore them. We're going to ignore them. So we're going to click on the X in the top right hand corner. Once you've closed down that dialog box, we now have the normal Elementor editor. If we take a look on the left hand side, you can see all of the options inside the widget panel are all to do with the single product template. So things like the product title, product images, those kinds of things. So now we can use those to build up the design that we want for our particular product page. So let's use a combination of these new widgets alongside some normal options we have and a little bit of dynamic data to create something a little bit more unique. So let's add in a new section. We're going to use 1 row, 1 column. And inside there, we're going to select this, and we're going to hop over to the Style tab, to our background image, and choose Classic. Come over the image section onto the dynamic tags icon, click on there, and we're going to choose the option for featured image. So once that's done, we can now set any position, attachment, repeat, and size options. So position, we're going to set this to be center center. Attachment, we're going to leave that as default. Repeat is no repeat because we don't want to repeat this image, and we're going to set the size to be cover. Now you can see if we take a look at the top, there's this little sliver that's showing part of our image, which doesn't look particularly great. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back to our layout section, and inside there, we're going to set the height, and we're going to just set this to be minimum height, and then we can choose some various different options, pixel values, viewport height, those kinds of things. We're going to set this to viewport height, and we're going to set this to be 50. So in other words, it's going to be half of the viewport height. In other words, half of the height of the screen, no matter what device is being used, tablets, mobiles, desktops, those kinds of things. So once we've done that, we're going to come down and into Style again, into Background Overlay, and we're going to apply an overlay effect on this. So we're going to choose Classic one more time. We're going to choose one of our global colors. We're going to look for a nice dark color like this, and then we can adjust the opacity to taste. So we'll set this to something like 0.6. So now what we can do is we can come back into our widgets and we can grab the name of this particular product. To do that, we're simply going to just choose the option for product title, drop that into the header section, and what we're going to do is we're just going to style this. So H1 is perfectly fine. Set our alignment to be centered, hop into style, set our text color to be one of our global colors, and that's pretty good. So we've got that all set up. Now let's add one more item. Let's add in our WooCommerce breadcrumbs, and we'll put that underneath our title. This now says exactly where we are inside the structure of our online store. So let's just add some styling to this. We'll center this. I'll hop over and choose our text color, and again we're going to use one of our global colors. White is perfectly fine. Our link color we'll set to this green color so it ties in with the store color. And if we want to adjust our typography and spacing, those kinds of things, we can do all of that. One final thing, let's just come back in, scroll right the way down, and we're going to look for the divider, drop that in between, set this to be something like 15%, set it to be centered, and we'll just adjust this a little bit. So we'll set our color to be this kind of color, remove the gap from there or set it as low as possible. And what we're going to do is change the style of this to be something like dotted, and we'll come back into our colors and we'll reduce the opacity on there. These are all just little design decisions that you can make and customize this how you want. You can adjust spacing and so on later on, but this should give you a good idea of how you can integrate normal standard Elementor and Elementor Pro features alongside these custom template features, these different widgets that are available to us. Okay, so we've now dropped in the header image, we've dropped in some additional information. Let's go ahead and carry on building out our template.
Let's add another new section in. This time we're going to do 2 columns in a single row. Add a little bit of spacing above and below just to give us some white space. Come back to our widgets, and what we're going to do is we're going to grab those product images again, pop that into the left-hand column. That's going to load the image in for us, and you can see we can now go ahead and customize this however we want, applying things like border radius. If we have multiple images, we can have those listed underneath, and we can style and configure those through the thumbnails option. For this example though, I've only got 1 product image associated with it. So let's go back and choose some more options. So we want the product title. We can drop that inside there if we want to, but this is kind of duplicating what we have at the top. So let's just get rid of that for now. Let's go ahead and add some additional information in. So first things first, let's put the short description inside here. So we'll drop that on the right hand side, and there's our basic description. Hop back over, we're going to grab our product price, put that above our description. And again, all our styling options are inside there. We can stack these if we have discount prices and so on. So we have full control over all of this. Come back over though, we'll grab our product rating. So if our product gets different ratings, we can let our visitor see how good they are. At the moment, there's nothing in there. And if you get this gray box, it just basically means there's nothing associated with this particular product. For example, we don't have any rating at all for these hand-picked red chilies. So this will just leave a placeholder in there to show you that something's inside there in the editor, but you won't see anything on the front end if there are no ratings associated with it. Okay. Let's go and add one more item in, and that's going to be the ability to purchase this. So let's grab our add to cart option, and we'll drop that underneath our ratings. So that will now drop in the add to cart, pick up any styling that's part of our global styling. But if you want to override any of that, we can do all of that through the options on the left hand side. So you've got control over the button, the quantity options, and also variations if we have variations associated with any of our products. So full control over everything we want. So for example, we might want to change the way the quantity option looks. So let's just put a border radius on this, and we'll set a border radius of 8 pixels, and you can see that now rounds the edges of that off. We can adjust padding inside there. We can drop a different border type in, so we might want to put in a dotted border type, and you can see that now places a dotted border around it, and you can adjust colors, background colors, those kinds of things. So full control over styling everything. So let's say we're happy with the way all that looks, and we want to add some more information in. So let's scroll underneath, come back to our list of widgets, and we're going to grab the option to put in our product data tabs. So we can drag those over, and now any of the tabs we have associated, things like description, reviews, additional information, those kinds of things, will all be listed inside this section. And again, we have full control over how this all looks. So for example, we might want to change the text color, background, border colors, those kinds of things, including radius, and we can also adjust the panel and the look of that as well. So all really easy to do, full control over everything inside there, exactly as you'd expect, including the ratings option if you have reviews enabled as part of your online store. So the final thing we're going to want to go ahead and add in is any kind of upsells or any related products. So again, we can just come back over to our widgets, and we're just going to simply come down to the product related, drag and drop that underneath there, and we now have the related product option inserted in. And again, we have full control over how this looks, how it is set up. So for example, we might want to say that we only want to have 3 products and 3 columns. We can do that, and you can see that now updates. We can also set the order, and you can see we've got random, price, title, those kinds of things, and whether we want to set this to be ascending or descending. And then finally, we can hop over to the style options, and we can control the spacing. We can control any border radius, those kinds of things, alignment of text, and so on. So you can see if we choose the center align, that now aligns everything to the center. If you come back to the content section, if you want to, you can adjust all the options inside here based upon the type of device that you're looking at. So when you're working on mobile, desktop, tablets, those kinds of things. So speaking of the responsive mode, let's just switch into responsive mode. And you can see this now takes us into what it would look like on a mobile. Everything looks pretty cool. Let's scroll right the way down until we get to the related products, and we might want to make some changes to this. So let's just select it. And now let's just say for the columns on mobile, we only want to have a single column. Well, there you go. We've now created a single column layout. Let's switch over to tablet view, and you see 3 columns inside there. That works pretty well. So we'll leave that as it is, and everything else looks pretty good in there as well. So that's how we go about actually creating the template layouts.
Now, Elementor Pro gives us a range of powerful tools to handle where and when our new template is going to be used. Let me show you how all of that works next.
So let's go ahead and publish this and set the conditions up to make sure this all works the way that we want. Let's click the publish option, and this now takes us into the ability to set our publish settings. Let's add a condition, And inside there, you can see the default option for this is to include all of the products. In other words, this template will apply to every single product on our entire site. That's great for most use cases, but you can get a lot more specific should you need to. So let's expand this, and you can see we now have several options. We can set this to be the template that's used for products in a specific category, inside a specific child product category. In other words, a category that sits inside another category. This is a child and parent relationship. You can also set this to be based upon a specific tag. So if you're using tags on your store, you can use this to actually apply a different template based upon specific tags. And finally, you have products by author. So if you have multiple people adding content to your online shop, you can have different layouts for each different contributor, or author as it's called in WordPress. So that's pretty straightforward. We're going to leave this to be to products, and that's perfectly fine. If you want to add additional conditions on here, you can do that. So we can add a second condition. And for this example, you could say you want to exclude something. And again, those same options are inside there. So combining or stacking various different conditions on top of each other will allow you to specify exactly where and when your template is used. So Elementor Pro gives you the ability to create multiple different single templates for all of your products and then apply them on a product, category, child category, tag, or author basis. Lots of really useful options. Now, before we go ahead and take a look at this, let's remove this second condition. Let's just quickly go and take a look at in category, for example, because you'll see the options change slightly when we take one of these other more granular control options. You can see this now says include in category, and we have all. We can click on there and we can then start to type in additional categories and let it search for different categories. So you can see product categories and categorized, but if you have multiple different categories on here, you can then go and pick and choose which one or ones that you want to work with. Again, let's remove that and let's just say we want to set this by products by author. Again, we have that all option, or we can come in and we can just search for a particular author and let that actually filter through. And you can see I'm the only author on here at the moment, but I could set this up so all my products use this particular template and all my products that by a different author would use a different template. Hope that makes sense. Let's just set this back now to products all, and we're going to save and close. So that's our condition applied to this particular template. So let's take a look at our template in action. So this is the normal archive for our shop. Let's go ahead and take a look at these diabetic cookies because they kind of look a little bit tasty. So we'll click, open that up, and you can see this is now our custom template. We've got our full width image across the top that's using the featured image for this particular product. We've got the name of the product. We've got the breadcrumbs to the entire product and everything else that we've set up, including our description, our reviews option, and also our related products.
Now, this bonus section isn't required if you simply want to build your own single product template for your WooCommerce products, but it can help you create more comprehensive and unique product details. So if you're not interested in this section, well, feel free to skip over it. But if you fancy seeing how you can get started combining these tools, stick around. Let's take a look.
So for this example, we're going to go ahead and install Advanced Custom Fields, the free version, but you could just as easily use something like Metabox, Jet Engine, Pods, any of those kinds of tools that you're familiar with. So let's go ahead and find ACF. We'll choose to install it, and once installed, we'll just simply activate it. Let's start by creating a couple of new meta fields and associate those with our product type. So to do that, we're simply going to come over into the new option that we have called Custom Fields, and we're going to add new. Now we can give this a name, so we're going to call this additional product details. We're going to say we want to set the location to be post type is equal to, and we want to change this from post and set this now to be product. And this means now that any of the products we currently have or any products we add in the future will now have any of these new meta fields that we associate with them. So really easy to do. Let's go ahead and add a couple of fields in. For this example, we're going to keep it simple and create 3 different kinds of fields. First, we're going to create one called manufacturer. The field name will automatically fill out, and that's perfectly fine. Text, we're going to change that from text, and we're going to just use the option for a select option. This will then allow us to create our own custom choices. For this example, we're going to keep it simple, and we're just going to add in a couple of choices, and these are going to be our manufacturers. Scroll on through, and we're going to leave everything else as it is. So we're going to close this field down, and we're going to create our second field. So let's add a new field again. We're going to call this one subheading. Field name pre-fills out, and text is perfectly fine inside there. So we're going to close that down. We're going to add our third field in. This is going to be our header image. Field name is fine. And then we're going to change the field type this time. And we're going to choose the option for image. When we do that, we then have additional options for the return format, preview size, and exactly where you want the image to be uploaded. So you can upload this to the post or to your entire library. It's up to you how you'd want to set this up. For this example, we're going to say upload to post. We're also going to set this to be image URL because we're only going to use one single image. If you want to restrict the file types, you can do that by popping those into the allowed file types. So for this example, we may only want to allow JPEG and PNGs. So once we've done that, we've now got everything in place, so we can come back up to the top and just click on save or update, depending upon if you're editing or creating a new set of meta fields. Let's go and take a look now where these are inside the products. So let's hop over to our product section into all products. We'll pick the hand-picked red chilies. And now if we take a look, we've got all the normal fields. We also have this new section called additional product details, where we have the manufacturer, we have the subheading, and we have the header image section. All the rest of the options are all still in place. So that's that. Okay, so let's test out our new section. Let's just change the manufacturer now, and we'll say this is the plant shop. The subheading, we'll just give this a little bit of an information. So we'll say amazing fresh. So there's a little subheading, and what we're going to do now is add an image. As you can see, there's our image of our red chilies, which is our product image. And this is only going to show us the images that are associated with this specific product. That's what we just set up inside the meta fields. So it means that everything is just a little easier to manage on a product basis without possibly thousands and thousands of images. So let's just upload a file. We're going to select our file, and we're going to upload that image to our media library, and that's going to give us our red chilies. Let's just give it some alt text, and then we'll choose select. Now that we've finished editing or creating our product, we're simply going to hit update. And now that's saved, the next thing we need to do is go and edit the template we created in the previous sections to include our new custom data. To do that, we're going to head over into templates, into theme builder, and let's open up our single product template inside Elementor to start making those changes. So now we can go ahead and replace the various bits of information with our new custom information. So if we take a look at the top, we don't really want to have the same image at the top in our header section as well as the actual product image. So let's deal with that first. Let's select this section, hop over to the style option, and inside there we're going to come over to our featured image option. We're going to delete that from the image source, and this time we're going to choose the option for dynamic tags once more. Click on that, and we're going to scroll through until we find ACF, and we're going to choose the ACF image field. We'll select that. And you can see we still have nothing inside there because it still doesn't really know where that image is coming from. There could be multiple image fields. So what we need to do is click on this little spanner icon, and then we can set the key. And the key is basically just the name of the field, the ACF field in this example, where the image is going to be stored. So we'll select that, and you can see header image is available. We'll choose that option. And now we have our image of our chilies, our custom image. You could, if you wanted to, also set a fallback image. So if anybody doesn't upload an image to go alongside the product, you have a fallback one, and that's perfectly fine. You can simply click on the plus and then just choose that from your media library or upload something. So for this example, we'll choose these grapes and we'll insert the media. So now we've got a fallback image should it be needed. So now we can go ahead and adjust the position, attachment, repeat, and size if we want to. So for this example, let's change our attachment from default and set this to be fixed so we get a pseudo parallax effect, as you can see. Pretty cool. Now if you want to, you can adjust the position of this. We might say we want to change this from center to maybe bottom center. We'll try that. Looks a little bit better maybe, but you can play around with this to get exactly what you want so you're happy with it. So next on the list is to deal with some of the other fields that we've created. We want the subheading and so on. So let's do that next. Let's come back over to our widgets on the left hand side, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to add in just a normal heading. So we're going to grab this, drop that underneath the title, and this is where we're going to use our sort of subheading section. So we're going to change this to something like H4 because it's less important, set it to be centered, and we'll quickly style this as well just so it's a little bit more in keeping. So we'll set that to be white, and we'll adjust the typography, and we'll say maybe something like 16 pixels, and we'll make it a little lighter. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now we can go back to our content, and again we're going to do the same thing. We're going to click on the little dynamic tags option next to our title, and from there we're going to scroll through until we find those ACF fields. So we scroll right the way down, and you can see ACF field. Click on there, and the same thing happens again. It doesn't know what field to reference, so we click on the little wrench icon, and from there we choose the key option. And this time we're going to just choose the subheading. As you can see, that now pulls in our subheading. And if we want to open up the advanced options, we may want to put things like before, after, or again, a fallback text inside here so you can fill those values out. So the final thing to do now is apply the manufacturer option. So we're going to come over to the right-hand column this time, and we're going to drop information inside there. So we're going to do the same thing again. Come back to our widgets. This time we're going to scroll down, and we're just going to choose an ordinary text editor field. We'll drag that underneath the description, and we're going to do the same as we've done before. Click on the dynamic tags option, scroll through until we find the ACF fields, choose that, click the wrench icon, open up the key options and choose manufacturer. And this time we're going to open up the advanced option and put in before, and we're going to put in manufactured. And there we go, manufactured by, and we're going to leave that as it is. And you can see now that pulls in the plant shop in this example. You can, if you want to, inside here, also apply HTML styling. So if you want to make the before bold, we can just simply wrap that inside the strong tags. So you can get as creative as you need to inside here. Now, once we've gone ahead and added all the various different custom fields that we wanted into our design, we can simply hit update to commit those changes, and then we can take a look at what this looks like. So there's our chilies. Let's open that up and take a look at our single product template. And you can see there's our custom header, our custom subheading, and also the manufacturer information. Now, these are really simple examples, but you could get as creative or as expansive as you want by using a tool like Advanced Custom Fields alongside these templates in Elementor Pro and a little creativity.
Now, if you're ready to learn more about customizing WooCommerce with Elementor, watch this video next. And if you found this video useful, I'd love it if you give that thumbs up button a click. It really does help me out. If you didn't get value from the video though, well, feel free to slap that thumbs down button twice, as that seems to work pretty well. My name's Paul C. This is WPTuts, and until next time, take care.